our little minisode about our trip to Vogue.
That's a cool word.
Minisode. Our trip to Vogue Knitting Live, New York City 2020. We went.
It was fun.
It was a lot.
It was really good.
Yeah.
I understand the I love New York thing.
Yes. It's a busy place.
I want to go back.
Yeah?
I do. I want to go back. Maybe just to New York. Like there's a lot to see.
Yeah.
A lot to see.
So we went for the whole thing. So we left
Wednesday.
On Wednesday, arrived on Wednesday and checked out Times Square in the evening when we got there, which was a pretty interesting place and busy. However, like I thought that was busy, and by the weekend it was bananas.
It was pretty, yeah.
Like I can't imagine like New Year's Eve.
That would, yeah.
It would be insane.
I would be grumpy.
It'd be crazy. But yeah, we checked out because we were staying right near Times Square.
Walking distance.
Thursday, we had a free day. Like no classes or anything. So we did a little bit of tourist stuff. We went to the
9/11 Memorial Museum.
Which, how do you describe that? I mean,
I think it's pretty undescribable, but to be honest,
it's very good to go, and it's beautifully done.
It's beautifully done, and part of the thing is, like, my people said to me, "Oh, that's going to be a really big downer," but you know what? It kind of speaks to the resilience, of mankind or humankind.
It's somber, like
it's very
It's very serious, but not heavy. Well, okay, no, that's not true. It's just really respectful.
That's a good word.
The outside, like the pools that they did outside, actually made me really sad because they're beautiful, but the water drains down into this hole in the ground, and I think that's just so. It's too symbolic.
But it is what it is,
it's beautiful.
Right? Yeah.
And I love that, you know what? I love that they did not just go and slap up another great big tall building on top of it.
Yeah.
I mean, how could they? But I'm glad they didn't, right? That no one decided.
That was a really good day.
The museum itself is incredible in terms of
architecture, the way it's laid out.
They built it, they built it below ground on the site. They've incorporated some of the building materials that were recovered from the cleanup. And then they have an amazing collection of memorabilia of all of the victims.
Yeah.
Like when you go through the most of it, and then you get to the two exhibits, and one is all about the victims, and if they change up what's in there. They have photos of all the victims. It's hard, but it's also beautiful. So it's very emotional, but it's very beautiful. And then they had just this time they were exhibiting hobbies and interests of all the victims. So people had given, their family members had given little things
that they did.
And I was caught by, there was one.
I know which one.
The man who was like a CEO of some big company, and he was a knitter, and they had a little bit of his knitting. That was really touching as a knitter. And then there's the second one is about the actual events of that day and afterwards. And so it's beautifully done. It's very respectfully done, and it's just a really beautiful tribute to the people who were victims, and also the people who responded.
Were victims later.
Yes, responded, were victims later, etc. So yeah, and they have Kleenex because you will
everywhere.
Like I had to really try not to ugly cry because I've done that so many times. Like and whatever you think you've seen about it on TV.
See, to me, it wasn't.
Isn't even close.
It wasn't that. It wasn't. Those weren't the things that bothered me. It was like the guy who he had his resume on a floppy disk.
Just everything.
You know what I mean?
There's so many little things.
Tidbits of the person's individual life, as opposed to, because how many times have you seen
the footage?
The footage, right? But it makes it real when you see the stuff.
And the stuff that they actually did recover and that is in there, the artifacts and whatever. So they have Kleenex stations throughout everywhere, which is thoughtful and necessary. And it was just, I'm really glad we went there. I didn't do a lot of sightseeing. You did more on the days after. But if I had to say, okay, I only have time to see one thing, that is the one thing. And that is the one thing I did see. And I'm really grateful that I, did go with you guys and went to it. So it's a must go to if you are ever visiting New York, for sure.
There's a bunch of stuff we didn't get to see.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to go back, and I'd like to go to some of the art museums.
Well, just quickly, what else before we get into the actual show, what else did you guys see around New York? Because you and your mom did more sightseeing.
Well, the one day we met up with, Mom and I met up with Heather. Mm-hmm. And we went to the NBC. We went to Macy's, which is like a whole block. It's like a whole block. We went to the St. Patrick's Cathedral. I actually, the one
that
day,
would be second on my list to go see.
That was pretty wild. Do you want me to tell you about the doors?
Well, I've seen pictures, but it just looks amazing.
St. Patrick's, they have the big, huge, monstrous wooden doors open. Mm-hmm. And it was snowing when we got there. And they were open, right? But they had, you know when a store closes their door, they have that big, thick glass that comes across? They had those across the door, so you had to go around to the corner door. Oh, okay. Which was a lot smaller to get in, but you got the full view of how welcoming it would be. Oh. But, you know, Sunday, here's the doors open, everybody comes in. Mm-hmm. But the doors were monstrous. But it was, so that was beautiful. A good one. I also headed to... I went to, I went to Brooklyn. I went over to Brooklyn because we were staying in Manhattan. So I went to Brooklyn. And I went to the Brooklyn General Store, and I went to the other store, Argo. Okay. So. And you went to, did you go to Grand Central Station? We did go to Grand Central Station, which is gorgeous, like gorgeous. There was this nice man all dressed up in SWAT gear, and I asked him if he could move so I could take a picture. And he says he's not really supposed to. I said, oh, okay. But he did, and I took a picture, and he moved right back. So. And was it NBC? NBC Studios, which is really amazing. I love architecture. I love doors. I love the details. They actually still have the granite floors with the brass inlay. And I took quite a few pictures. We'll put some pictures at the end of this. And they had big, monstrous rails on the stairs, and there was 3 of them. Yeah. For design, right? And they were brass. And all the doors in the building were brass. So it was kind of neat. Yeah. But yeah, it was, we did a lot. Like a lot of walking. Yeah. But it was good. Really good. Yeah. I didn't do so much the knitting. I did go, like I said, I went to Brooklyn. Went to some of the stores. I worked to Brooklyn Jenner, which I would highly recommend. We didn't talk about that one first? Okay. So. Well, I was going to say, the afternoon after we went to the 9/11 memorial, we went to Purl Soho. Which is a beautiful store. Yes. Because it was kind of in the same end of the city of New York. So we went to Purl Soho, and we each bought a few little things there. Yep. What did you get there? I picked up a quick little sashiko set type of thing. I bought the needles. So I bought the needles, I bought the gray, and I bought a, what is it called? What is it called? I don't know. A thimble. Oh. A thimble. So sashiko is Japanese embroidery. Sorry. So there's a little, stuff. Is that leather or rubber? Yeah, it's leather, but I think there's something hard behind it. Okay. That's neat. And then let's show the design first. So they have all kinds of these little pre-stamped squares of stamped fabric so you can see there. You can follow the stitches. So you bought one with navy, and this is the design. Yeah. And it shows you kind of what order to do it in. And then I bought dragonflies. Mm-hmm. And what I want to do is stitch mine and then incorporate it into a bag. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Sew it into a bag. Now, if you looked on Instagram at Sashiko, it is those I bought at another store. So she got gray thread to use on the navy. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But they do all sorts of really interesting things. Like they'll do a dash, and they'll do all the dashes, and then they'll take a different color and they'll weave it through a special way. And step by step, it's really interesting. Yeah. So the kit comes with the little comes with instructions. Yeah. Neither one of us got a kit that required the weaving. No. There was a couple there, and it was kind of like So with the dragonflies, I actually bought 3 different. Let me show you the actual colors here, not the tags. I bought these 3 different colors. So whoops. That was the only one that was right. There. And then I'll do them dragonflies. And I just got plain light gray on the navy. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, just plain and navy. So yeah. There was beautiful yarn there. So much beautiful yarn. And fabric. Oh, beautiful fabric. Yes. I was tempted, but I didn't. No, it was really nice. So we did that. It's a really nice store. A lot of people who went there said it wasn't as big as they thought it would be. Yeah. But what you have to bear in mind is their mail order comes from somewhere else.
Oh, okay. They have a
So,
different
yeah.
distribution.
Right. They have a distribution center.
And then I got this cute little bag to put my stuff in.
Yeah, so that's really cool. It was really, it was a beautiful store. It was really good. Oh, you know what I did get there? Did I get those there?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I didn't.
No? Okay. Then the actual knitting event. So Friday morning, Thursday night, you and your mom were out hanging out doing stuff. Adrian and I went to a Broadway show.
Yeah, yeah.
We went to the Book of Mormon.
That's good.
It's so good, but like so bad. Like
So
naughty.
inappropriate.
It's naughty, but it's a very good show.
Nice.
It's written by if you don't know anything about it, it's written by the guys that write South Park, so you can imagine.
Yeah.
But it was hilarious and well done and just amazing. The performers were amazing, and we had such a good time. So we
See,
did
that night, my mom and I were in Times Square until about midnight, and all the stores were open.
Oh yeah,
It was fun.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was good.
Yes, we did that. Then Friday was Adrian and I had a class. You and your mom were doing more of the exploring you talked
We
about.
were with Heather.
Yeah. And you
That's
went to
when we
some
went
of
to
these
Brooklyn.
places. And Adrian and I did the Patty Lines class. And then after lunch, we had a 1 hour, just a lecture with Stephen B. Stephen Berg. His brand is Stephen B. And it was just called Ignite Your Knitting. And he just talked about sort of like, you know, what kind of a personality are you? What kind of a knitter are you?
Okay.
And are you really like, you know, predictable and not too daring, or, you know,
That's
and
me.
and then he talked about like how to just get out of your box a little bit. And he does do like he pretty much just does whatever. Like he always uses different fibers. He often blends them.
Yes, very creative.
Yeah,
and very,
he blends his own fibers to make something new, and he'll use
You're not
anything.
going to show that fabric, are you?
What, this?
Yeah. Okay. Do you want me to hold it?
So he passed around samples of his knitting, and he also passed around some yarn samples. And one of them was he called it his crispy silk. It's silken straw, 100% silk. Now this isn't his label. This is Alchemy Yarns. He sells this in his store. But he passed around 2 shawls that he had used this with, and parts of it he had held it with mohair, and parts were just by itself. So he calls it crispy silk because if you've knit with silk, you know.
It feels like, it feels like soft straw.
It feels like, yes, like almost like a soft raffia.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And it looks like a raffia. So I went to his booth when the marketplace opened and bought he had a basket of these, and there were no 2 in the same color. So I got
Smoky quartz.
smoky quartz, and this is obsidian, and they are
100% silk. For it to
100% silk. So they'll go together, right? This is black, and then this is grays to cream. When this was knit up, it was incredibly soft.
It would feel like silk ribbon.
Well, it didn't even look like ribbon anymore. It looked like yarn.
Oh, okay.
Once it was washed and blocked, like it really is like 100% yarn, but it's almost like a tape, like ribbon.
Ribbon.
So that was indulgent. It was a bit pricey, especially considering it cost me 35% more than the sticker price, coming from Canada. But
It's
this was
interesting.
a
I've
very
never seen it before.
unique. Yeah, it's something I hadn't seen, and I loved how it felt. And it's just, this was an indulgent souvenir. So I really love these. And I was inspired because of the lecture I went to. And then you guys were out, and then the marketplace opened at 5.
Yep.
Adrian and I were sitting knitting just in some chairs near the doors, because they were lined up like 45 minutes before when the doors opened. And there was nowhere that either of us had to get to immediately.
No.
So we waited until the lineup
Went
quick.
down.
It went through quickly, but we waited until the lineup went down, and then we went in. One store that I really wanted to go to was Barnyard Knits. I'd been following them on Instagram, and we should talk a bit about the marketplace first. I counted, and there were like over 130 vendors. So more than we thought. Like there were a lot.
There was a lot.
It's on 2 different floors in like a big convention room, but on 2 floors. And then at the back of the one room is where they have the stage for the fashion show. So like half the room is the stage for the fashion show, and then all these booths. So they're very packed in there very tightly. Like the aisles were three bodies wide. Like it was very crowded, especially for the Friday night when it opened.
I just went for a bit later on in the
You
evening.
had a little later when it had calmed a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was very crowded. Now, being someone who's not big on
crowds.
I don't like crowds, but it's I found it. I don't like a lot of color.
Oh,
Right? Like everything was. I don't. It's not that. I prefer mine to be all tonal. Because these color, like the variegated colorways, the speckles and everything, they come and they go. And I've never really found one where I'm like, yay, I need that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's just my color preference. So that was actually, when I was there, it was a lot of color.
It's
a lot of
like a riot.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of the booths, it depends on the dryer, and a lot of the booths, like some of them were like
I liked
it looked like a candy store. It was like bright and
I liked
crazy.
I like the colors at Barnyard Knits. They're more my colors, but again, there's too many colors in one skein.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's just
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they weren't beautiful because they were all very beautiful, but it's not my preference. So that's how I came home with nothing.
A lot of the booths were, well, a lot of the booths, I probably went into 8 booths out of 130.
I wouldn't, yeah.
Mostly because they were too crowded and too small, and I couldn't get in.
But
I
even
would have.
Brooklyn General was there. And their booth was crazy. But the store was still chock full of everything. That was the one thing. It's a really nice store. I would recommend
Some of the
that
big
one.
stores had like triple. And they weren't so bad. So there was a lot I would have loved to have just go in and check out and look at everything.
Right, kind of meander,
and take my
but
time.
there's not, no.
But this was not the time
There's
and place.
4 people behind you trying to get in the same booth.
Unless you stayed, like we had to leave Sunday, unless you stayed for Sunday.
Maybe Sunday night it would
and
have
went
been.
and did that when a lot of stuff would have been gone. But just, there were dyers I've heard of that I would love to have gone and looked at their things, but it was just too much, too many people, too crowded. My favorite booth was Barnyard Knits.
It was nice. It was
For
very
the
nice. The
fact
colors
that
were really pretty.
They were not a U-shaped booth.
They were flat.
They were flat against the back wall, and everything was just one big line. And it visually, it was beautiful. It was easy to get at.
It was accessible as well.
It was accessible.
Totally accessible. You
And
didn't have to.
There were a lot of people around, but it didn't feel like you were a bunch of people packed into the booth the size of an elevator.
Right.
So I really liked their setup. And you know what? They did one thing and they did it beautifully. They had their yarn.
Yes.
They had it displayed beautifully. And I just went there to check them out because I had appreciated their Instagram. So yeah, they did have a show colorway called New York City. Which I bought in their sock fingering base.
That's pretty.
Yeah, you can see the different tones here. It's very dark and
They
moody.
do very moody well.
Yeah, they have more subdued colors. They're not like the candy store brights. And then I bought a mohair to go with it. Same colorway, New York City. So I bought those from Barnyard Knits.
It's pretty. That one's another colorway that was for the show, wasn't it?
Yeah, I got this from Do You Knit. And it is a hedgehog potluck color.
Do you EUW?
Yeah.
Okay.
I believe that's what the booth I was in.
Okay. Yeah.
Do You Knit? It's the Vogue 2020 potluck colorway. They had 2 of them. One was more of a brighter pink. One was the navies with the different
like the
colors. And it's really pretty.
It's nice.
Yeah. So I got that.
Very good.
100 Ravens, who I bought from before, had these mini sets with the gradient skeins.
Now, when you go to unwrap those, I think you really need to do.
Yeah, someone suggested that number them so that you know what order they were in.
Them, because look at how close they are. But yeah, you could get those messed up anytime.
That's exactly the perfect advice. So I will do that. And this is again a fingering.
It's beautiful.
Look at that.
Gorge.
Brooklyn General had La Bien-Aimée. And I wasn't going to buy La Bien-Aimée because I just bought some here. But they had this mini skein set. So I'll take them out.
Just take them out.
Just hope my battery doesn't die. Look at these.
Now see, those are pretty.
And this is a dark
gorgeous.
tealy blue-green. Almost like my
I
sweater.
love that. It's got more teal to it. That's beautiful.
This one. It's got some of the speckles of the teal in it.
No, I'm loving that dark color.
This.
Very nice.
Yep. I'm just going to show them individually. So that was a mini set from La Bien-Aimée.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
And
She rolls those very tight.
I know. Well done, right? Yeah.
Sorry.
And then the the only thing I wanted to come home with was, sometimes these make Lisa sneeze. The Tuck Woolens soft sock soap. So they were at a couple of booths. One booth had just one, I think it was maybe a unique scent. It's called Dirty Hippie. So they had small bars of that. That might make you sneeze. And then I think it was Starlight.
Starlight Knitting Society.
Starlight, is that what they're called? Yeah. I think they had them. So I bought Plum and Amber. That's really nice.
See it, because I was thinking of getting them.
It's not too, that might not make you sneeze.
That
Plum
one's
and
not
Amber.
bad. I can deal with Plum and Amber.
I got 2 sage and blackberries because I really liked it. Do you like that one? I got 2 of them because I liked it so much. And then, you know what they suggested is instead of lathering up the whole bar every time you use it, they said take a sharp knife and just shave a little shaving off of it.
I have soap sensitivities. You can actually take it to a grater.
Oh, yeah.
Just to slice it across the cheese grater, because I used to have to do that with soap.
Yeah.
And then I would put it in a mason jar with water and shake it and make it into liquid, and that was my HG liquid because I couldn't.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to take a knife and just a little thin sliver off of it. And then it won't all get soggy every time. Yep. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah.
And I also did get, they have the lip sticks.
Lip balm.
As well. So I did get, I forget which one I got of that. And yeah, so I was really happy to find those. Other than that, Saturday was more just marketplace doing things. We had 2 fabulous meals out with a bunch of friends because there were some other ladies from Sarnia that went.
The guacamole was really good.
Yeah, we went to I was supposed to say El Camino. 2 Caminos. Dos Caminos.
Dos Caminos.
Dos Caminos.
And that was right off of Times Square. It was really good.
Fantastic.
And then
Carmine's Italian restaurant, which was amazing. Yeah. Was there much else to say?
The one day that we went into Brooklyn was good.
Yeah.
Like we went, met up with a couple of the other girls from Sarnia, and it was fun. Brooklyn General is a store that I would highly recommend. Like it's different. It has a different vibe than Purl Soho. You guys went to Knit City, didn't you?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nitty City.
Nitty City.
No.
But yeah, it would be, that Brooklyn General would be right up your vibe.
Kind of the place we want to hang out.
They had Le Bien-Aimé there. They had Shepherd's Daughter, Farmer's Daughter, and they had just everything you can imagine that you would want. It was Life in the Long Grass.
Nice.
So yeah, it was good. And then we went to Argyle, which is in the same area, but I think it would be an amazing store. It's just everything was at the show.
Oh, okay.
So we didn't get to really enjoy it. I know that 2 of the other people we went with got huge, monstrous things of alpaca.
Okay.
We saw those.
Yes.
And they're really nice. But yeah, other than that, it was a really good trip.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention,
cool.
I'll put pictures. They had a bunch of mosaics of little 2x2 inch knitted squares. And it kind of very much had a Monet look. And I tried to get some pictures of them. Well, the reason is there's a project that creates these, and it's called Knit a Smile. So I'm going to show you this, and I'll just read. Together we are Monet. Our aim is to make people smile. So we knitters, participate in this project by knitting 2x2 inches or crocheting 2x2 inches, 2x2 squares, knit or crochet. Any stitch except stocking stitch and rib. So they don't want plain stocking stitch.
No, like
so you can do seed stitch.
Seed stitch. They want anything
whatever.
that's kind of cool.
Do some cables, like as long as it's a 2x2 square. And then you send these into them. They are located in France.
Yeah.
And I'll put this information on our screen, and I'll also put it in when I get to the show notes in Ravelry. I'll try and put it in there. But basically everything's on their website. Okay, knitasmile.com. You mail them into them, and then they create these large.
I mean, they're
tapestries.
They're big.
They have done 5 so far. So there are 254 water lilies by Monet that are listed in his water lily series. They have done 5 of them.
And they're not small. Like they're...
Yep. They've chosen 5 artworks from 5 different museums on the 5 continents.
Oh, that's
that's just the beginning. So they're going to create more.
Now, when you were there, They actually, you could,
There was a
there was a box you could pick up squares to knit.
drop off. Yeah.
You would pick up or drop off there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. That would be something to watch for in other...
I don't know.
Yeah.
Other yarn shows. Like if you follow them and check out their website.
They actually have an Instagram too.
Yeah. Knit a Smile.
That's cool.
So it was so awesome. So I just wanted to share that.
Did you
'cause
notice
you could
that?
be part of that.
There's your 2-inch square.
Right there. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Cause
That's perfect. So that's the size they want. If your gauge is off, adjust, because then the whole thing will be like totally out of whack. Or you'll just get rejected and you'll never even be in it. So that's really cool.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
that'd be fun to do, hey?
I know.
Okay. So yeah.
And it didn't tell you how thick the yarn has to be either.
Nope, as long as it's 2x2. And
That's
then
awesome.
someone sews them all together. And this thing was huge, like the size of
first
the
was like a
wall in my
saint.
office. Yeah. So that was really neat. There was so much neat stuff there. It was definitely a fabulous experience. For me, with the travel expenses on top of everything and the exchange, I don't know if I'd go back to New York. Like, I would go to another Vogue event in another city. Ideally, if I could drive.
Now, see, to me, it's not so much, it wasn't really that expensive when you look at it. For me, it was the distraction of having New York there.
Yeah, if you went, I would take more time. Like I went for the knitting show. I didn't intend to see a lot of tourist stuff.
And I was lucky.
But
I
if
will
you had
say,
more time.
Vogue knitting was really, really. I didn't go because the teacher that was teaching my class was ill, and I had kind of picked a class, and I'd heard the guy was interesting, so he was sick. So I'm like, oh, and they said they can send a substitute, but I really wasn't gung-ho for that. And they were really good. I went up to them. I said I wasn't interested in taking the class with someone else. They refunded me on the spot and took care of everything.
They have an amazing
really good
team
customers.
of volunteers.
Yes, they were amazing. Even I forgot we had signed out of the hotel before we came back on Sunday, and I had forgotten my tag at the hotel. They just printed me off a new one.
Yeah.
And I just,
I mean, they haven't given a lot of time.
They've done this more than once, obviously.
But this is a massive show. Like, when you have over 130 vendors and classes, like they had probably every available meeting room in that hotel booked for classes.
And then, you know what? I found, to me, it was so big. Like, it was just so big.
There was stuff on 4 or 5 different floors.
Yeah. And then it was the waiting for the elevator.
Like,
that was kind of...
during the busy times, like the
you
very
had to
first...
go in and enter the code you wanted to get on. Heaven forbid you change your mind between there and then, because then you have to go back and enter your code, and you had to wait
I almost
for
wish
them.
they would have had a bank of elevators just for the first 8 floors.
Yeah.
Which are all the business floors, right?
Yeah.
And then have a bank of elevators just for your rooms. Because that was when it was peak times, like first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
When the show floor opened, then it was a bit of a wait.
Now, they weren't even... The knitting show was not the only show there that weekend.
Yeah, they had some other stuff going on.
Yeah, they had like Microsoft's training for a bunch of stuff. We saw that
It was
one.
a huge hotel.
Yeah, I mean the hotel was huge, and they did the best that they could with what they had.
I think it was
just
incredibly well executed. Like, it was a great show. So yeah, just because of the expense of the travel and stuff. If I could have taken a whole week and stayed longer, that would have been a little better. But I have definitely enjoyed myself, and it was excellent and worth it. So we loved it.
Yeah, no,
We
it
had
was
a good
awesome.
time. Yeah. So that was our Vogue Knitting Live experience. We took some pictures, not a ton.
I did.
We didn't do a ton
But
of
not
like
of-
fangirling because that's just not us.
It's
Like,
not
you know,
us,
there
no.
were. I saw Hohi. Actually,
No,
I walked by Hohi, and her husband and her mom were kind of standing behind her, and she was busy talking to other people, and I kind of just smiled at him, and I said, "Oh, you just have to kind of follow and wait," and he just nodded, and you know, whatever. But I wasn't like.
I got to
fangirling.
meet Gigi made it.
Did you meet her?
I did meet her, and she's my height.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I always thought she was taller.
Oh, you know who we did meet?
It was kind of, and she was she's sweet.
Was very meaningful. We met some podcast viewers.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
we have to shout out. So Corleen, thank you for coming up and saying hi. Because when you did, there was just so much going on and so many people, and it was a little bit overwhelmed. Not like stressful, but it was just. And I just felt like this ant in an anthill, and then just kind of like, stuck in the wave. And then Corleen stops us, and she said hi. And I kind of recognized her face because her Instagram
Is
emoji or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Avatar.
Her Instagram profile is a photo of her.
Okay.
And then I said, "What's your Instagram name?" And she told me, and I'm like, "Yeah,
that's
I know
cool.
exactly who you are." So
And,
that was nice. And Trudy.
There was the 3 ladies. I can't.
Well, Corleen was with some friends, and I can't remember if she introduced us to them. Trudy was another person that stopped us with a few other people.
That was cool.
And then I got to meet, you met her too, Christy of Mama in a Man's podcast. And I've been watching her since she started her podcast. She's a very busy mom, and her name, Mama in a Manse, comes from her husband is a Presbyterian minister, and Manse is what they call the house.
Where they live,
the house that the minister and his family live in. And I just like watching her. She's totally down to earth, just a regular.
She's funny though.
Yeah,
she's
a mom with like 5 kids and a busy life,
crazy.
and I've been conversing with her for a few years, following her and watching her. And then when she said she was coming, I said, "Okay, we have to meet in person."
Right.
And we
have
did.
to. That's cool.
And that was really fun. And she was with her friend Allison of Lofty Loops, who's a dyer from I think Nebraska.
Okay.
And so that was special. So those meeting just a few people was a highlight.
I liked meeting Gigi because I'm really into the on purpose and choose to be happy, be happy on purpose, that type of thing. Like she's got a really amazing positive vibe, she's so positive, but so real.
Yes, and intent, like just about doing everything with intent.
But and I think that's really.
I saw
sometimes
her.
I need those reminders from her every so often. It's like I
saw her twice, and I could tell
the orange.
She's one that would never make you feel
right,
like you were troubling her by stopping her. But she'd been talking to a few people, and then she was like I could tell she was on her way to get somewhere. And I didn't want to be like, "Hey," and grab her as she was walking by. I just, No,
we were just
said hi. Well,
we were actually standing beside each other, and I looked, and I'm like, "Oh, hey! I just want to say thank you for giving out those positive vibes all the time." And I was just kind of. But I did. I thought she was taller.
So that was,
must be her personality.
It was fun. It was a good time. It was good to come home.
Yes, it's always good to come home.
Yeah, it was a good time. So that was our trip. And if you ever get a chance to go to a knitting show like that somewhere, go. And I would highly recommend a class if you can work it in and if you have budget for it. A class of something that obviously you're not going to take a class of something but like this was I learned so much in this class. It was so worthwhile. And they often have classes that most of these shows have classes before the marketplace opens, so you don't have to.
So the day before,
you don't have to miss out on the marketplace either.
No.
It was a good time.
That was awesome.
Yeah. So that's all. That's our trip to New York, Vogue Knitting Live 2020.
Clean up this mess because it's stressing me out.
Well, let's do it after we stop the camera. Okay. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.
All right, perfect. Take care.
Let's do it. All right, Leo.